Hi guys, it's Stacy here. Welcome to my channel, Life's a Project, where I like to share my everyday life projects with you. And today's project is harvesting some basil from my garden. And I thought it'd be really fun to show you how I make homemade basil pesto. So guys, just look at this basil. It is doing fantastic. It's growing in this 1 square foot of space and it just smells so fragrant. I wish you could smell it. But you know, if you have some basil growing in your garden, you can go out there and take a big sniff of your own basil and it just smells so yummy. So I did make a video where I started this basil from seed indoors. This basil is called Italian large leaf. So I had my basil plants growing underneath grow lights, and one plant was starting to look a little leggy. So I did take a cutting from that plant, place it into water, and it did grow roots. So I did another video when I transplanted all of my basil plants out into the garden, including the one that I propagated. So they are all growing in this 1 square foot of space, and they are doing so well. So one thing about basil plants, they love to be harvested. So you want to come in here, harvest often, and that will make this plant want to put on more leafy growth. So it will bush out and give you more leaves, and that is what you want. So there's a couple of different ways you can harvest your basil. You can just come in here and randomly cut off these larger leaves, or you can come down and cut off the stem right about here, just cutting those tops off, those sprigs of basil, and it will not hurt the plant at all. And that's what I like to do. I like to just cut the stems and have just large clusters of leaves to use in my recipes. So I'm going to go ahead and harvest some of this basil, and then I will show you what it looks like. So I've harvested all the basil that I needed to make my pesto. Can you tell the difference? Can you see that the plants in the front here are much shorter? So what I've done, I've taken those cuttings and placed them in a mason jar that I filled full of water. And I really think this is a good idea because if you don't put them in some type of water, they will start to kind of get all limp and droopy. So I like to do that. But it is a good way when you take it in the kitchen, you can wash up your basil and place it in a mason jar filled with water, and it will last a pretty good while. You will be able to use that basil in your recipes. So guys, that's how simple it is to harvest basil from the garden. So now I'm going to get it to the kitchen and make some pesto. So I'm in the kitchen now. I have everything laid out and ready to go. I've already washed my basil, gave it a quick wash. I just removed the leaves from the stems and I have it laying here on a clean paper towel. Now you can do pesto so many different ways. Traditionally you'll use, your basil, olive oil, pine nuts, maybe some garlic, salt, and maybe some cheese like Parmigiano Reggiano or a Parmesan cheese. Also, I'm going to be using my Vitamix blender here to blend everything together. You can use a food processor, just use what you have. And I'm going to be making mine a little bit different using some different ingredients. So I have my olive oil here, and this is organic premium olive oil. It's my favorite. And then I have some salt, some pepper, and then I also have measured out here some organic sunflower seeds. Now I'm using the sunflower seeds instead of pine nuts. You can also use cashew nuts, you can use walnuts, just whatever you have. So I've measured out 1/4 of a cup and 1/4 of a cup of Parmigiano Reggiano cheese. Like I said, you can also use just regular Parmesan cheese. I have about a cup or so of basil. I just eyeballed that. And I have 1/4 of a cup of my olive oil ready to go. And then I have extra that I can drizzle in so that everything starts to blend well together. So you can see that I'm not using any garlic, but you can certainly throw in a garlic clove or two if you like. Also, if you do not want to use cheese, you can leave that out. I use a jarred pesto sometimes, and it does not have cheese in it, so it is really yummy that way as well. So like I said, just so many different ways that you can make your pesto. Really, you can just add and subtract different ingredients to make it how you like it. basil pesto is finished here. Now I made a small amount. I'm going to use my spatula here to scrape all of it out into this bowl. Now if I would have made a larger amount, it would allow those ingredients to get down to the blade much easier, and I wouldn't have to do as much scraping the sides of the bowl to get those ingredients down to the blade. And I did have to add in 1/4 of a cup more of olive oil, so a total of 1/2 cup of olive oil in this recipe to really get everything to blend nicely. And you can blend it down to make it more smoother, or you can leave it more chunkier, just whatever you want to do. So I wanted to share with you really quickly a really neat way to store your basil pesto if you're making a larger amount, so that you can kind of get out what you need and use in your recipes. So I have here just your simple, basic, cheap ice cube tray, and I just took a sheet of plastic and just put plastic wrap right on the top of it. Then you want to take your basil pesto and pour it down on top of the tray, filling in all of your little holes, your little cubes. And then you want to take the plastic wrap, fold it over the top so that it covers everything. Take the entire tray, put it into the freezer, let it stay there for several hours, best overnight. And then when it's done, you just lift out the plastic, take all of the cubes, place them in a zip freezer bag, and then you can just take out what you need for your recipes and defrost that, and you can leave the rest of the cubes in your freezer to use for another time. So guys, that is it for this video. I hope you enjoyed seeing me go out to the garden and get some basil that I started from seed. And it's just so exciting to take that basil and to make it into something in the kitchen that you and your family can enjoy. So if you have any questions or comments, place those down in the comment section below. And I hope you give this recipe a try, because it is really yummy. And I hope you will subscribe to my channel so you don't miss out on any future projects. And I will see you in the next one, guys. Have a blessed day. Bye.